25th, 2025. Look, this one done went by fast already, golly. But first thing first, let me know y'all thoughts on today's episode down below. What did y'all think? And for the people who were saying how they don't really know what to think, some people saying how they think that Haley is actually pregnant. Now, if you've seen the episode, what do you think now? Let me know. Because now, like, Danny was right. Look like Danny was right. Now, I feel like Haley been giving off the idea that something was going on. But I feel like as the episodes progress, we're going to find out more and more. But we found out, if you didn't know, spoiler alert, at the end of this episode, they revealed that Haley declined the ultrasound, but she told Bill she seen the ultrasound. She told me, so they said they'll email it to her. I said, Bill's so gullible. He walked out telling Danny how, yeah, the baby's doing okay. The baby 10 weeks. I said, first of all, I had a baby 10 weeks when she just got pregnant the other day. Now, y'all know it's soap time. Y'all know it's soap time. They be adding on time. Hold on, let me throw this away. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, y'all know with soap time, they add on time. One day they 1, next day they 11. Nah, one day they 5, next day they 15. That's how they be doing on soap operas. But yeah, what did y'all think of the episode? It was something else I was gonna say before I got started, but I forgot. I know I'm late. It's about to be 7. I got an hour until it's time for House of Pain to come on. Hold on. But yeah, let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. We're gonna start with Martin and Bill. So they was meeting up, and Bill was trying. I was hoping that they showed us a doggone meeting. I wanted to hear it, but I'm assuming they're gonna do some little flashbacks and stuff. But yeah, Bill and Martin was just talking about the meeting. He was trying to get Bill to tell him what was going on. Hold on, y'all. He was trying to get Bill to tell him, and he was like, Vernon doesn't want him involved, and he had to agree. And Martin told my son, that's his life and stuff like that. He said, I understand that, but you know, it's that it doesn't just affect him. So that's what they was talking about. So Bill ends up saying that he came there to meet him because he want him to point out the busboy because he don't know what he looks like. Ooh, Lord. He wanted him to point him out. And then that's when they started talking about the guy got a new face or whatever. I did think I remember them saying something about he looks different and he don't know if that's the guy. But it was said on today's episode that Ted gave the dude a new face. And I was like, wait, did they say that yesterday? I remember them saying he looked different, but I don't remember. So I said, so Martin beat him that bad, he got to go get plastic surgery and stuff. I said, I did not hear that yesterday, y'all. I definitely didn't hear that yesterday. But yeah, Ted apparently gave the Kenneth dude a new face. But yeah, Bill wanted Martin to show him the bus boy or whatever, but they was looking around, they couldn't find him. Until he left, until Bill left and he was behind him. I said I think he heard everything. But yeah, they were just sitting up there talking about that. Let me see. Martin was saying how he's mad about being left in the dark because that's his life and he has a right to know. They said something about he's supposed to set a plan in motion. I said, you don't need to do nothing else. You don't need to do nothing. Then the dude, when Bill left, he talking about to meet him. I think he said at a bridge. I said, you better not meet him in no bridge. I said, he already over here making threats, making empty threats or whatever they be calling it. I said, you better not meet him nowhere. And he also made sure to tell Martin to come along. But Martin did tell him that if he want the money, he'll meet him at the Lake something casino or whatever. I think that's Joey Casino. Meet him at the casino because Bill said that he wanted the dude to meet him there and they'll handle the rest. So Martin was asking if they trying to get rid of the dude. He was like, no, or whatever. You think a police chief and they said detective or whatever, a congressman would do something like that? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, definitely. I said, definitely. That probably ain't the first time either. Now, with the police chief, he seemed like, that's Jacob Daddy, right? I said, he seemed, I don't know. I'm still saying that maybe he legit. But we won't know until they actually show us full blown what happened. They keep giving us little snippets and stuff. But yeah, like I said, Bill ends up getting a call from Ashley because Danny kept calling him and he wouldn't answer. So he finally answered because Ashley called. That's when she says that Haley was in the hospital. So he ends up telling Martin he has to go or whatever. And that's when the dude popped up. That's when he popped up or whatever. And he was like, you got my money? He asked me if he had his money and stuff. That's when he was like, he want him to bring his money at some place. I think he said something about a bridge. And I said, do not meet him at no doggone bridge. So he ends up telling him he's not meeting him there or whatever. If he want the money, he gonna come to the casino. So I think that's Joey Casino. Well, obviously that got to be Joey Casino. But yeah, that's what he told him, and he ends up leaving. But before that, the dude was like, "You think you in control?" And I said, "He gotta watch his back, dude. Ain't no telling what this man done did." I said, since the show started, he been following him around. He don't have plenty of time to do whatever he was gonna do. But yeah, also Bill told him before he left. He said, when you see the guy, I think he said when you see the guy or something like that, let him know or call him or something like that. Haley over here lying and stuff. I knew she was lying because she was looking at. I say, did y'all see that? I told y'all I pay attention to people's facial expressions. She was looking at the doctor. At first, I was wondering if the doctor was really a doctor. But yeah, when the lady came in there, she made this face at the lady, and I was like, yeah, she lying about something. But yeah, I think that was the last thing about Martin, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, Bill want Martin to arrange for the guy to meet at Joy Casino. And I said it looked like Kenneth for listening. And yeah, he was. He told him to come along. Like I said, he talking about some come along with the money. Shoot. He already let you know how he get down. Oh, he talking about, I think Martin said something about you want me to meet you on an empty road or something like that again. That's how it happened the first time. Martin got a temper. I said, right, exactly. But I still, when you don't know who he gonna meet up with, you don't know who with him. What else? Let's see. Let's see. Who else we got? We got Haley, Danny, and Ashley. So Danny ends up bringing her into the hospital, and she was saying how she faking or whatever. They end up taking her to a room. So Danny was just telling Ashley how she needs to go in there because she needs to see the ultrasound and she needs to make sure she's not lying and stuff. So Ashley was just telling her she can't do that. She was telling her how she can't do that or whatever. And she was like, well, you can. She was like, she's not going to do that. And I was just thinking about that because I didn't write it down. I said, now that Ashley knows that Haley declined the ultrasound, I said, she can't say nothing, can she? Because of, what's it called, HIPAA or something like that? I said, she can't say nothing, can she? I mean, they ain't never stopped these folks before. They ain't stopped them before, but, I was like, she can't say nothing, can she? I said, she gonna tell somebody. But yeah, let's see. Like I said, Danny was trying to convince her to let her go back there. She was like, she can't go back there. And she was like, she thinks she faking. And she said something. What did she say? She said it's hard to fake a swollen stomach, a swollen belly, so she's trying to fake a miscarriage and she's trying to blame her. I said, yeah, she was right. She tried to spin it like it was Danny's fault. I said, first of all, what you doing at the good house? She did tell Bill that she seen his car there and she went in there to confront her and stuff like that. And she tried to make it seem like Danny was sticking it to her and it's her fault. And Bill started getting mad. I was like, you ain't got no business in her face. You already knew they had just started to get cool. They just started to get cool or whatever. And here she go. Here she go. But I was like, dude, I didn't know what she was about to say. I thought I'm starting to think she had miscarried too. Because when he walked in, Bill walked in the room, she was crying and stuff. And I was like, oh, I said, look like she really was pregnant. No, she won't even do an ultrasound. And I said, by the time that Danny puts them two together or she finds out that she declined the ultrasound, she can go get pregnant by somebody else. She gonna make it like she did have a miscarriage or something like that. But yeah, what else? Let me see. I think Ashley ends up telling Danny that what if you're wrong? What if she actually is pregnant and she just lost that baby? And Danny was like, I cross that bridge when I get there, but right now I'm sticking to my gut. And I said, you was right to stick to your gut because it look like she faking. But yeah, she got brought in for a cramp, and that's what she got brought in for. Danny was saying how she faking. That's when Ashley was trying to talk to her or whatever. Let's see what else. Ashley tells Danny what if Haley really was pregnant and just lost that baby. Danny said she trusted her instincts. Bill ends up making it to the hospital. That's when he go in, and she told my son, the baby's okay. She saw the baby or whatever. Did she say she heard the heartbeat too? I don't know. Either way it goes, she full of crap. She tell my son, what did she say? What else? I think he wanted to see. He was like, maybe I can contact the what's it called, the technician or whatever, and get him to redo it. She told me, I said no or whatever. They said they was just gonna email it to me and I could show you then. I said, she liar, pants on fire. So then the doctor come in. He's like, let me know how's she doing, how's my wife doing or whatever. And she was like, your wife's fine. She didn't say your wife fine and the baby's doing fine or nothing. And before she answered, Haley was over there looking at her. So I was like, did she pay her? Then he don't sit up here and took out a $10 million what's it called, life insurance policy. I said, you fool. When I edited that thumbnail, I was about to put fool across his forehead. I forgot to do it. I was about to write fool across his forehead. What the word going on? He was so upset. when he was asking what happened or whatever, and she was like she knew he had went over there or whatever, and basically trying to make it seem like Danny was saying how he would eventually leave her or whatever, and he was like, so it's her fault or whatever. He started getting upset and stuff. He was trying to go out there to confront her. She was like, no, just leave it alone, because she gonna know she won or whatever and all this other stuff. And I was like, girl, you see that this man still possibly has feelings for her, and you see that she got a hold of him that you can't reach. That's what it is, because you gave him this whole slideshow showing the ultrasound, alleged ultrasound, and everything, just for him to say that he only felt like himself and all this other stuff when Danny walked in the doggone hospital room. But then again, he could have been lying, because do be lying and stuff. But what else happened? Like I said, after that, that's when Danny was out there talking to Andre. He was trying to find out why she didn't answer his calls. He was upset about that, and he was mentioning Bill and stuff like that. She told him about Haley or whatever. That's when Bill came out, and he was upset. You could tell he was upset, but he was trying to keep it cool. She asked about the baby. He was like, she's 10 weeks or whatever. Baby's doing fine. All this other stuff. I seen the ultrasound and all this other stuff. I said, you ain't seen no ultrasound. You seen the first ultrasound. I said, how you see it? And they just said how she declined it. And I said, he over here helping her lie. He over here helping her lie. But, and then, I think when Danny was talking to Ashley, I think that was the scene where she went over there and she was saying not to say anything to Naomi about what went down or whatever. And she just looked like she was just defeated, like she was wrong about it, and she actually is pregnant and stuff like that. I said, something gonna tip her off to let her know that she wasn't wrong. But yeah, I was like, he done came out here talking about, so yeah, she 10 weeks. I said, first of all, she wouldn't be no 10 weeks. Well, I don't know nothing about that, but I'm assuming she wouldn't be no 10 weeks. What else happened? Let me see. Ted and Eva. Eva was telling him why did he have to leave and stuff like that the other day. He told my son it was a patient and stuff like that. She was like, he a terrible liar. And that's when he ends up saying that he can't tell her, but it was something he had to handle. And she was like, is it something that Nicole would be mad about if he didn't tell her? And he was like, yeah. And she was trying to tell him he need to be honest, that he need to tell her the truth, because that's how they got in that situation to begin with, lying and stuff. She already feels like she can't trust nobody and stuff. And he still didn't get a chance to tell her. I said, dog, what else did she say? Eva tells Ted he needs to be honest with Nicole, says he needs to show her that he's worth trusting or whatever. And he went over there. He actually went over there to tell her. And I told y'all, I said, I hate when they interrupt folks, but they do be taking their time. He could have just flat out said, it's about Martin, it's about our kids, or something like that. But yeah, she told me, I already know. He's like, you know? And he was like, how do you know? And she was like, Danny. He was like, Danny? And that's when she was talking about Andre and Danny. And they started going back and forth about that. And during that conversation, he basically was telling her she need to get off her high horse, off her pedestal. He's like, you need to come down to earth. You over here acting like you perfect. No, none of us are perfect and stuff. We mess up from time to time and stuff like that. And telling her about how she a therapist, she's supposed to know that sometimes these things happen and stuff like that. And told her basically, if you keep pushing everybody away, you're gonna lose everybody and you're gonna be lonely. I mean, I agree with some of that, but he tried to throw himself in there. You cheated. What the freak you talking about? You cheated. You cheated. Now she do need to go. If she actually gonna forgive you, she need to go ahead and do it. Cause crazy wig lady over here is gonna end up creeping up back on over there with him, and he gonna go. And he gonna go. We seen that on shows before. They be like, yeah, they crazy and stuff. What was that? Was that General Hospital? What was that? I just seen a clip. What was the lady name? That I don't think she was crazy. Well, she obviously was crazy. Lisa, Patrick, and the Robin situation. She was crazy, but he still was involved with her. But I don't think he knew she was crazy or whatever. I think that's who it was. But yeah, what else? Yeah, they was just going back and forth about that. And he was like, that wasn't my secret to tell. Well, I think he started out telling her. He was about to tell her about Martin. He was saying it's not my secret to tell. Either way it goes, the Andre situation, it wasn't his secret to tell either. That's their secret. But I said, yeah, I knew she was going to be upset. But he ended up leaving. I was like, dog, now she finna get a divorce. If she was that mad about Danny and Andre, I said, yeah, I don't know if they going to work things out, y'all. But let me see what else, because he told her something. He was just trying to get her to see that she pushing everybody away, and he was just trying to plead his case and stuff like that, and say he's sorry, and he just want to show her, he regrets that, hooking up with that lady and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, we'll see. Was that the last thing in regards to them? Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I wrote down. I think I skipped somebody. Nicole and Andre. Yeah. Nicole and Andre, so they end up meeting up or whatever, and that's when she was mad. She went off. She went off. She was saying how this is what he do. He used trying to imply that he was using her and he a playboy and all this other stuff. And he's like, no, it's something real. She's like, you trying to tell me you in love with my sister? You in love with them? He's like, no, it's nothing like that. We don't even we not even thinking about stuff like that. And she said something about when you came to me months ago. I think that was the scene where he found her and he was trying to warn her without telling her too much. That was the scene when she was passed out, wasn't it? And she was like, you tried to tell me something months ago and stuff like that. Did you know then? And she just kind of made it seem like he took advantage of her. And I don't know if I agree with that. He was like, you know your sister, nobody can take advantage of her, just, get her to do something she don't want to do. And she was just saying how it's wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, they both know that neither one of them want each other. They just using each other for the time being. Because he want Ashley and she want Bill. So she technically right. But Andre don't feel like he did anything wrong, like Danny did anything wrong or whatever. But yeah, he got mad and he ends up leaving. Wait, let me make sure I cover everything before we leave that. Let me see. Let's see. I guess I'll stop writing in regards to them because I don't see nothing on here about them. About Nicole. Let me see. Nicole thinks Ted want to know. That ain't it. Huh. I didn't write nothing about Nicole and Andre. I just know she was mad about it. She was mad about them being together. That's when he left and he wanted to talk to Danny about it or whatever. I think Danny said she was gonna talk to Nicole or whatever. But yeah, I said Andre, he was upset that she still has feeling for Bill and stuff like that. And I said, but you can't you at least she was honest with you about the whole Bill situation. You have yet to tell her about Ashley. I'm surprised she ain't put two and two together. What else we got? Who else we got? Bill and Haley, we already talked about that. She talking about some doggone. She seen the baby, and no, it's not her fault or whatever. Then when they roll her up out of there at the hospital room, she talking about some you still around or whatever. Thank you, and just playing it off, playing in this man's face, and he over here, he's so gullible. I said, as many people as I'm sure he don't come and play. You telling me you can't peep game with this lady? She up to something, and she finna get it. She probably gonna try to take him out and get that $10 million. But yeah, I think we steps closer. I think as the episodes progress, they're definitely gonna show us more and more about Ashley. She finna get ready to slip up. They might show her talking to the doctor lady because she definitely was looking at her. I don't know if she was looking at her to warn her not to say anything or what. But yeah, Thomas. Yeah, I was about to say Thomas and Eva, but I forgot Kat. I'm right there beside each other. Might as well combine them. Might as well write it right there. So Kat over here still trying to hook up with this man. I was like, don't do it, Garrett. Reconsider. What that song say? Reconsider. I don't know what to say after that, but but she's kissing him and stuff, trying to sleep with him. And he kept on stopping. It kept on. He was like, you just a while ago you were saying how you didn't want to do this and stuff like that. And she started trying. She kind of trying to tell him, she loved him. That's what it looked like to me. And he's like, no, or whatever. And she's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna, suddenly think that we supposed to be in a committed relationship because we sleep together. And I was like, wait a minute, they confused me. Yesterday, then they said they was boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm like, dog. But yeah, I was like, is y'all together or not? I know maybe they meant by marriage or something like that. Because she was like, I'm not going to expect, if we sleep together, I'm not going to expect us to be in a long-term commitment or relationship or whatever she said. And she just kept trying and he kept pulling away. And I was like, it's not just about that. To myself, he want to respect her and all that. If you wanted to respect her, you wanted to be study bringing it up beforehand or whatever. But I think it's about Eva. And I think Eva know that. She over here fantasizing about him and stuff at the end of the episode. Then she seen him, and they was talking. They ended up talking. Hold on. They ended up talking and stuff like that. He said something about he had to go. I said, don't you follow it? I said, don't do it. It's a trap. But yeah, I think he gonna eventually end up with Eva. But yeah, Kat feels some type of way because he walked out on her. But I feel like we are going to see a little triangle between Thomas, Kat, and Eva. Yep. I seen some people saying that from the jump. They were saying how it's gonna be a love triangle between them because he don't know who he want. But yeah, what did y'all think about this episode? Also, what did y'all think about the Haley? Y'all think this means, Lord? Y'all think this means that she's not actually pregnant or what? Let me see these comments. Hold on, let me scroll down. I think that was the last thing though. Hold on, let me make sure. Haley said she saw the baby. Liar, pants on fire. Yeah, that was the last thing. Okay, now let me read the comments. It says, "Oh, now why did Reed just accept that proposal from Taylor, knowing he just gonna run back to exactly?" Look, he looks so disappointed. I said, "Nobody told you to accept it." Brooke, like Taylor is not someone Reed would marry. Like Brooke Reed married Taylor multiple times. Yeah, true that. Yeah. I said exactly. I was like Taylor. She was so happy too. I said no. I said why they be using her to sit up here just making a fool out of her? They could have brought her back married and everything. But aside from that, yeah, I like today's episode of Beyond the Gates, y'all. I'm ready to find out more about Haley as well as what happened in that meeting. I think that was the last thing I was gonna say. But yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, this is how girls today and be safe.